All right, let's dive right into one of the biggest questions there is. Is humanity on a collision course with itself? In this explainer, we're going to break down the very real and very researched risks that our civilization is facing.
Seriously, think about it. Is there a more important question a species could ask itself? And the answer, well, when you actually dig into the data, it's complicated. And frankly, it's pretty sobering.
So to really get why, we have to start with this fundamental conflict, this contradiction that's right at the heart of what it means to be human in the 21st century.
And this right here, this quote just nails it. Think about this for a second. We are the first and only species on this planet ever that can see our own potential doom coming. We can run the models, we understand the science, we even know what to do about it, and yet we struggle to actually act. That gap, between knowing and doing, that's where our whole story is playing out.
Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. Experts often sort these massive threats into tiers, and we're going to start with Tier 1. These are the heavy hitters, the finishers, the risks that could quite literally end civilization as we know it.
First up, the old classic, nuclear war. And look, it's not just about the mushroom clouds. The real civilization-ending threat is something called nuclear winter. A major exchange would throw so much soot into the atmosphere that it would literally black out the sun for years. Global agriculture would just stop. And here's the scariest part. We've dodged this bullet by pure dumb luck multiple times. Not because our systems are perfect, but because one person in a control room made the right call.
And to put that threat into perspective, look at this number, 12,500. That's roughly how many nuclear warheads are just sitting in arsenals around the world right now. We don't even need all of them. A tiny fraction of that is more than enough to plunge the world into that kind of catastrophic winter.
Next on the list, climate change. And let's be clear, this isn't about slightly hotter summers. It's about irreversible tipping points. Imagine you're pushing a huge boulder up a hill. It's hard, but you can stop. The tipping point is when that boulder gets to the very top and starts rolling down the other side. You can't stop it anymore. That's what could happen with things like melting permafrost releasing methane. And some analyses suggest our window to prevent that is closing fast.
And then we have the new kid on the block, AI. No, we're not talking about Terminators with glowing red eyes. The real risk, the one the experts are actually losing sleep over, is something called the alignment problem. It's way more subtle. Imagine you tell a super intelligent AI, cure cancer. It might calculate that the most efficient solution is to eliminate everything that could ever cause cancer. It's not evil. It's just following its programming too well, without any human wisdom. When the godfather of AI himself quits his job just to sound the alarm on this, you gotta pay attention.
But here's where it gets really tricky. These huge threats, nukes, climate, AI, they aren't happening one at a time in neat little boxes. No, they're all tangled up in this massive interconnected web, and they actually feed off each other, making everything worse.
So you have these other risks, which you could call Tier 2 risks. Things like ecological collapse, the next pandemic, and by the way, COVID was pretty mild compared to what's historically possible. Or running out of fresh water. They're like a constant, low-grade fever for our planet. They might not kill us directly, but they weaken our global immune system, so when a real major threat comes along, we're too weak to fight it.
And this shows you exactly how that works. It's a vicious feedback loop. Okay, a war breaks out somewhere. That's bad on its own. But then it drives up oil production, making climate change worse. It sucks all the political oxygen out of the room. It makes it harder for countries to cooperate. It diverts billions of dollars we could be using to solve the big stuff. So every crisis we have actually degrades our ability to handle the next one. It's a downward spiral.
So why is this so hard for us to get our heads around? Well, a huge part of it is a bug in our own brain's software. It's called temporal discounting. Basically, your brain is hardwired to react to a lion jumping out of the bushes right now. It is not wired to panic about a chart that says something bad will happen in 50 years. A distant threat just doesn't feel urgent to us. It's a massive blind spot, and it might just be our most dangerous one.
Okay, so we've talked about the threats right here on Earth. Now I want you to take a big step back with me. We're going to zoom out. I mean way out, to a cosmic scale, to really wrap our heads around what's at stake.
400 billion. Just let that number sink in for a moment. That's a low-end estimate for how many stars are in our galaxy alone. And our galaxy is just one of trillions out there. With all those chances, all those planets, you'd think the universe would be noisy, right? It should be absolutely buzzing with intelligent life.
So, where is everybody? Seriously, the sky is silent. This is the famous Fermi paradox.
and it's one of the most haunting and profound questions in all of science.
Well, one possible and frankly very chilling answer is a theory called the Great Filter. The idea is that there's some wall, some hurdle that almost every intelligent species hits, a challenge so difficult that almost nobody gets past it. And the really scary question is, have we already passed it? Or is the biggest test still ahead of us?
And this is the crucial part. What if the Great Filter is this exact moment we're in right now? The point where a civilization's technological power, its ability to create nukes, AI, biotech, grows way faster than its collective wisdom to handle that power. That gap between how smart our tools are and how wise we are, that might be the filter. And we are right in the middle of it.
Look, I know this all sounds incredibly bleak, and it is a serious situation. But the story isn't over, not by a long shot. The outcome is not set in stone. Which brings us to the most important part of this whole discussion, what we choose to do about it. It is so important to remember. We have been to the brink before and pulled back. We made it through the Cold War. We actually came together as a planet and passed treaties to fix the hole in the ozone layer. It proves global cooperation is possible. Look at renewables. Their price has dropped faster than anyone predicted. Even AI, for all its risks, could help us solve some of these massive problems. The very fact we're talking about this, that awareness is the first, most crucial step. So, at the end of the day, it all boils down to this one simple race. In one lane, you've got technology, AI, biotech, and it's moving at a blistering exponential pace. And in the other lane, you've got our institutions, our wisdom, our laws, our ability to cooperate. And we're just moving along one step at a time. The entire question of our future is, can our wisdom catch up to our power?
And this is really the key takeaway. The outcome is not guaranteed. It's genuinely uncertain. And that is both the most terrifying and the most powerful idea of all. Because if we were definitely doomed, our choices wouldn't matter. And if we were guaranteed to be fine, they wouldn't matter either. It's the uncertainty that gives everything we do, right now, meaning.
You know, we are an incredibly young species. We have the technological power of gods, but we're still running on ancient, tribal emotions. Whether that combination adds up to a short, brilliant, and tragic story, or whether we become something more, well, that chapter hasn't been written yet. That part is up to us.